I can kind of touch upon that. So, in my past life, which was not that long ago, I led some creative teams, and I think the most important thing is being open to everyone's lens, right? And making sure that you're intentional with those type of conversations. So when I went through the creative process, and I'm sure aheo can kind of touch upon this as well, because I know Kaimana is very intentional about this, but I always ask my team, do you feel like everyone in your sphere of influence, so your friends, your family, they can resonate with the messaging and the imagery that we're putting out, right? And I think if you can't genuinely answer that yes, then I always ask my team to kind of revisit whatever project they're working on. And it's a tough conversation, you know. You have to be bold enough to question if everyone has a place in your marketing. And yeah, and especially I know for a few of us in here, we work corporate, so it is a deeper conversation, and it's creating those relationships with those in HR or ERG groups, and making sure that they can advocate for you on the executive side as well.
Like you mentioned at Kaimana, you know, I have the opportunity to create a team that's diverse, and you know, to ensure that those that are making decisions are you know, there's a nice focus group, right? So you have those that identify as queer, you have those that don't, you have different age groups, you have different backgrounds. I think it's important to have everyone there to, you know, talk about ideas, throw things on the wall, see what sticks. But I think it's important to make sure that that group of decision makers are diverse, and there's equity, you know, in regards to how we make those decisions.
I would love to speak to that, but I haven't managed a team quite like that, so I feel like those are good answers. I think I saw someone over here raising their hand. Go ahead.
I'll take this one. Yes, fa'afafine in Samoan is what they refer to, or the counterpart to that would be mahu here in Hawaii. There's been a lot of conversation, right? Sasha Colby identifies as mahu, but it's not just your gender, right? You know, it is and we just had a really wonderful town hall at Kawaiwai Mo'iliili recently, and there was a panel of mahu in different shapes, forms, colors, you know, backgrounds, and I think it's important to understand that it's not a sexual orientation, really. It's the beauty of being able to wade and shift between masculine and feminine. Here we talk about embracing our ku, which is a more masculine, I guess, identity, or our hina, which tends to be more fluid and feminine. And so, long answer, but it's mahu here in Hawaii.
Well, I'm definitely going to down. I know we're meeting, I think, next week to like discuss, because this was just really the logo, and we have a lot of like plans, I think, in our head of like how we want to use the logo, like making a full brand kit, how would we apply it to everything. We're just not quite there yet. But I would love to do some sort of like, I don't know if it's like a booklet that kind of explains things, or like you guys have amazing videographers you work with for some of your storytelling, like we could do it in that way. But it'll probably be a phased engagement, because I know we just unveiled the logo at our gala last month. So yeah, definitely throughout the year, and especially during Pride, you're gonna see a lot of like the ways that we can use the logos and like the meanings behind it.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna be very intentional in the next few months, especially as we roll out Pride 365, and making sure that we storytell and share with everyone, you know, the intent behind the evolution of our foundation. Jairus has been a part of this journey for a few months now, and definitely this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I definitely think as we move forward, we'll be able to relay some of our stories, the stories of the community, to everyone. Of course, I can kind of speak on that. So I actually spent a decade working with Fidelity and Title Guarantee, which, as you all know, a Fortune 500 company is very corporate and very, well, definitely when you're working with a legacy company, a company like Title Guarantee that's been around for 125 years, there's definitely a lot of nuances that you kind of have to navigate. I was very fortunate to have a leadership team and an ownership team that was very accepting of me, as my most authentic self. I honestly think I went into work, and this makes me emotional because I have a very close relationship with working there for so long. So they allowed me to be who I am through everything. So just unapologetically who I am. So we navigated the conversation with the ownership and HR and really worked to create an ERG group. Through my leadership, we actually became sponsors for Honolulu Pride for a few years. They actually are continuing to support us to this day. So I think what I like to say is that you have to be who you are, and that's kind of that call to action I was talking about, is just be authentically yourself and really stand up for your beliefs, because when you're passionate and you have conviction, people are more willing to be open to your thoughts. And it took a whole decade. That whole 10 years, it was a journey to kind of get through the policies and get through everything. So yeah, that's a long answer, but it's definitely being authentic to who you are, coming in with a game plan, because I literally every year would drop this strategic plan that had a back section that included an ERG group, and it took probably 5 or 6 times of me writing that into my strategic plan every year for it to finally, get some eyeballs on it. So, yeah. So just be consistent.
I have a quick story also too. I worked for Disney out at Aulani for 7 years, and when you talk about corporate, where's Sherilyn? When you talk about corporate, Fortune 500 legacy, that the brand is so important, right? To that company, that they do a lot of work ensuring that everything that we do there preserves that brand. And then I come to Kaimana a few years ago, and we're like, let's just break things, let's make mistakes. It was in the middle of the pandemic, and there was no rules. There's no guide to how to reposition a hotel in the pandemic. We wrote one with Jesse, but there was no rules, and we were fortunate that we had a lot of funding, and we also had a group of ownership and management that really believed in what we were doing, believed in the product, believed in the team, and we were able to be very successful. And yeah, I think that is the I experienced 2 different sides of the spectrum, but yeah.
I love that you said break things, because you broke things in the most beautiful way. And I know welcome stranger Jesse, you're also my personal hero. You guys did a beautiful job with the rebrand, and it feels so much more inclusive. And I really think it's because this doesn't sound nice, but the fish rots from the head, right? So when you have someone that's Native Hawaiian, that's very proudly LGBTQ+, you're gonna feel that in the business that you guys are running. So, huge testament to your ability, your partners. I can't get enough of your hotel. I'm there too much eating at Howtree.
Well, we're only getting started, so.
Ooh, take all my money.
We're excited.
Yeah. Ooh, I feel like we can all probably answer that. That's a great one.
How much time do we have?
Yeah.
Let me take a
Try to
deep
keep it
breath.
quick. You guys go first.
Randy's more articulate, so I'm going to have him answer that, and then we can talk offline.
So, I do have a very timely story for this, and I'll just try to keep it brief. Essentially, who I was as a person was kind of questioned in a role that I was in, and it was really difficult because I was expected to be the head of this company. But ownership didn't necessarily agree. And they had a very passive way of expressing their, just my identity, because they questioned my being as a Filipino. They questioned my being, okay, I'm gonna get emotional because this is so, my being as a queer person. And it took a lot. It took a lot for me to kind of push through that, to be strong enough for my team to make sure that they were not affected. And obviously they were living through their own experiences, so they had their own lived experience with this company, and I, as their new boss, wanted to, create a safe space for them. But it's difficult to create a safe space when you're not even given a safe space, right? So I literally went through this process of, to Aheo's point, I tried to break this company from where I stood and literally break every toxic thing that they possibly could not only do for their clients, do to their clients, do to their employees, do to me as the head of the company, and really advocate for everything that I stand for. And I tried to do that as unapologetically as possible, creating a strategic plan for them that really saw change, and unfortunately I get emotional because it was a losing battle. But it led me to this amazing opportunity now that I have with Hawaii LGBT Legacy Foundation. So it
was their loss.
So it was great.
They lost the battle.
It was great for me to experience that extreme of an environment and then, get to be my authentic self here with all of you folks.
So we are the largest, Andrew's like, where's our notes, Andrew? We are the largest organization in the state that provides services to individuals living with HIV. We do case management, we do clinics, HIV clinics. We're also an integral part in the providing services for those that are unsheltered and experiencing homelessness. We also do mental health. I'm blanking on our elevator speech right now, but and so this year we are celebrating 40 years. We originally, thank you. Let's clap. Life Foundation was the original name of the organization, and it was founded 40 years ago. And 5 years ago, the Life Foundation merged with the Child Project, and we became Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center, and that's been for the last 5 years. Yeah.
All right. I think that takes us to the end of our time. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, guys.